So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes, everyone, for people to join in. So I think we can start. So hello, everyone. Very good evening to you all. And thanks for joining us today for the session. A quick introduction to myself. I'm Smriti Agarwal Gambhir, and I'm part of the investor relations team at IN. Today's session is very special. IPOs are one of the most sought after fundraising options for late stage startups. They are seen as a path to growth and success amongst entrepreneurs. However, for unlisted SMEs, the process of getting listed can be very difficult to navigate sometimes. So in order to address this issue, we thought of hosting a session on the various nuances under an SME IPO. And for this, we have none other than Mr. Ajay Thakur today with us, who's the head of BSE SME at the Bombay Stock Exchange. Mr. Thakur, a very warm welcome to you. And thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate that you could make time for this today for us. 29 years in capital markets, spanning India's biggest custodian to India's biggest and largest stock exchange, Mr. Thakur has played a pivotal role in setting up the BSE SME startup platform in the country and developing derivatives and equity markets for BSE. BSE today is the largest and most successful SME platform in India, with 435 companies listed and another 78 companies in the pipeline with a market cap of almost 66,000 crores. The startup platform of BSE also is doing phenomenally well with already a listing of 14 startups who have raised 61 crores and a market cap of almost 900 crores. Mr. Thakur has been a recipient of the prestigious Dadasaheb Phalke Award for his contribution to the award to the growth of MSMEs as well. So on that note, I would request Mr. Thakur to please take stage. All the participants, I request you to please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box through the session, and we would request Mr. Thakur to take up the questions post his, post he speaks to us. So with that, over to you, Mr. Thakur.
Thanks, Smriti. I just wanted to welcome you, a very warm welcome, Ajay. You are a veteran on the, about SMEs, MSMEs, and now the exchange. You've been instrumental really in building up the SME IPOs. So just wanted to really warm welcome. We have the entire investor network, be it from IN, our fund LPs, we have founders, we have other VCs on the call. We incidentally had almost 100 registrations for this session, and I'm sure through the evening we'll see more. But a very warm welcome, and I for one am eagerly looking forward to understanding this better. A couple of our portfolio companies are going down the IPO, SME IPO path, and learning for me. Thank you.
Very good evening to all of you. It's really a pleasure to be here. Since the launch of SME platform in 2010, way back in 2010, I was given the opportunity to start this SME platform. Am I audible? Thank you.
Very audible.
Yeah. So in 2010, when I was given the responsibility, I have never thought that this SME platform will ever become successful, because there was no taker at that point of time. OTCI was launched way back in 1990, which has failed miserably, and that was also for the small medium companies. And the guidelines which SEBI formulated for SME platform was more or less same. They have issued a circular on 18th May 2010 and requested the stock exchange to start the SME platform. After that, there were a lot of deliberation. Many advices and suggestions have come how to start this SME platform, but nothing was moving. However, we thought of starting this SME platform and taken the lead, applied to SEBI for giving us the permission for launching this SME platform. On 27 September 2011, after having a lot of due diligence, SEBI meetings, etc., on 27 September 2011, we became the first stock exchange to get approval for launching the SME platform. And then after meeting lots of merchant bankers, what we found that most of the merchant bankers were not ready to come onto the SME platform. They don't feel it viable, and they think that there were a lot of responsibility with very less monetary benefit on this SME platform. Therefore, nobody wants to take it or venture into this segment. Finally, after a lot of hard work, in March somewhere, we got a merchant banker. I have given him the company, talked to the company, and both of them started working on this SME platform. The merchant banker almost at a very negligible cost taken the mandate on my request, and the company also on my request got ready to get his company listed on the SME platform. It was more on experimental basis. So after a lot of persuasion and hard work, on 13 September 2012, we launched this first SME platform. Now, SEBI guidelines, I would like to give some light on SEBI guidelines. SEBI on 18th May 2010 come out with a circular saying that any institution having a net worth of 100 crores can launch the SME platform. But BSE and NSE were the two stock exchanges who have got the whole infrastructure to launch this SME platform. So, this SME platform, for that, SEBI has, on 18th May 2010, come out with the circular. Then on 26th April, they have come out with SEDR guidelines, chapter 10, and they have also issued, this market making agreements, etc., etc. So with these frameworks in place, the SEBI guidelines said that any company having post-issue paid-up capital up to 10 crores have to compulsory get listed onto the SME platform of the stock exchange. Between 10 to 25 crores of the post-issue paid-up capital, they have the option either to go on the SME platform or on the main board of the stock exchange, and beyond 25 crore of the post-issue paid-up capital, they can list their company only to the main board of the stock exchange. So they have said that up to 25 crores, if the company's paid-up capital is there, they can get their company listed onto the SME platform of the stock exchange. Subsequently, on the main board of the stock exchange, they made the guidelines more stringent. They said that if the operating profit of the company for 3 years is less than 45 crores, then they can't get listed onto the main board of the stock exchange. So 3 years operating profit together should be 45 crores. If it is below, then 75% of the issue needs to be subscribed by QIP. So for a small and medium companies, it becomes very difficult to get listed onto the main board of the stocks. So they have got only one choice, that they should get listed onto the SME platform of the stocks. Besides that, SEBI has introduced some new concepts on the SME platform. These concepts were, number one, the concept of lot size. What they said that any investor who wants to invest into the SME companies in the primary market, they have to invest minimum rupees 1 lakh. And therefore, they come out with the concept, and they created lots. And in those lots, these investors need to subscribe. And these lots were of minimum rupees 1 lakh to 1,20,000. So like that, they have come out with the concept of lot. So if any investor wants to subscribe this issue, they have to buy minimum one lot or multiple thereof. So they tried to refrain the retail investors into these companies because they found it to be a risky venture, and only informed investors who have the idea about the company, who have got a deep pocket, should only invest in this SME company. Secondly, they come out with the concept of market making. What they said that all these issues which are coming onto the SME platform should have a market maker in the secondary market. And the merchant banker's responsibility is to ensure that in all these issues, there should be market making for a minimum period of 3 years. So the reason for introducing the market making was to give the investors an exit and the new investors an entry into the market. If there are no investors who are putting their buy or sell put in the market, then the market maker is always present with his buy or sell put, so that the buyer who wants to buy these shares, they can buy from the market maker. If they want to sell, they can sell to the market maker. So this market maker concept was introduced, and the market makers were made compulsory to remain present 75% of the time into the capital, into the secondary market. So this was the second concept. Third concept that they have come out onto the SME platform was the concept of hard underwriting, that is 100% underwriting. So the merchant banker who is bringing the issue, he has to ensure that he should fully subscribe or get the issue fully subscribed. Even if the investors don't subscribe, he can't let the issue devolve. He has to ensure that the rest of the unsubscribed portion he should bring either through some other investors or from the from his own resources or from his own books. So these three things were introduced onto the SME platform, and therefore the merchant bankers were finding it very difficult, or they were not so forthcoming to take this issue. However, with the time, we start adding new merchant bankers who were ready to take the risk because the issue size was small initially, and slowly, these companies started getting subscribed. Investors started showing, interest in these companies. So besides that, what SEBI said that, for example, onto the main board of the stock exchange, there is a minimum requirement of 1,000 investors. However, in the case of SME platform, they said that even if the company gets 50 investors, those 50 investors can subscribe the issue and let the issue move forward. So with this, these were the guidelines which has been brought onto the SME platform. And accordingly, there has been changes in the ICTR guideline and all the places. Besides that, even in the post-listing compliances, they have reduced substantially. In here onto the SME platform, what they said that even that these companies have to do, compliance on half-yearly basis. It means that half-yearly they have to submit unaudited results, and yearly they have to submit audited results. Not only that, they have also said, SEBI also said that they don't have to publish the results into the newspaper. Initially, when there were deliberations, most of the stakeholders said that the SMEs don't have that much of bandwidth which the large companies have, and therefore initial compliances will become very difficult unless until they used to those compliances, their compliance burden needs to be reduced substantially. So here, instead of quarterly compliance, what is it that company needs to do half-yearly compliance. So that one relaxation SEBI has given. Second, they said that even the shareholding patterns, what they have to submit to the stock exchange, they need to submit on half-yearly basis. However, the board needs to be constituted with independent director, 50% of the independent directors. Women director is not compulsory as of now on the SME platform. So these are some of the relaxation which has been done on the SME platform. However, they have to appoint the company secretary. And if there is any material development into the company which has got an impact on the share price, then they need to inform to the stock exchange within 24 hours. They have to also call the AGM on yearly basis. And if there is any substantial development or they have to take any action, they can call AGM. So post-listing compliances also they reduced. Third, they have introduced a new concept whereby they allow the SME companies to migrate onto the main board after some cooling period onto the SME platform. So that cooling period has been kept 2 years by BSE, that after 2 years, if the company opt for migrating onto the main board of the stock exchange, they can migrate. Subject to their post-issue paid-up capital should be above 10 crores. Their market capitalization should be above 25 crores, and they have to take 2/3 non-promoters approval in the AGM. If these things are in place, then after 2 years, the companies can migrate to the main board of the stock exchange. So overall, these are the guidelines that SEBI has framed for the SME platform. In addition to this, BSE has also come out with its own guidelines pertaining to the eligibility criteria. In eligibility criteria, we have the company in any form, whether it's a proprietorship form or partnership form or LLP or private limited company or public limited company in any form, if they are in existence for a minimum period of 3 years, they are eligible to get listed. This is the one eligibility criteria. The second one is that out of the past 3 years, in any 1 year, they should have operating profit. Third, their net worth should be positive. And fourth, their net tangible assets should be minimum 1.5 crores. So these are the 4 eligibility criteria that has been introduced by BSE for any company who wants to come and get listed onto the SME platform of the stocks. So 4 eligibility criteria. Number 1, they need to be in existence, or then their track records should be minimum of 3 years. Number 2, their net tangible assets should be minimum 1.5 crore. Third, their net worth should be positive. And fourth, they should have operating profit in any 1 year of the last 3 years. So these are the 4 eligibility criteria that BSE has introduced onto the SME platform. As far as benefits are concerned, yes, there are a lot of benefits because these companies have to file the prospectus only to the stock exchange. They have to take the approval from the stock exchange. These don't go to SEBI for their approval. This only goes to SEBI for information. SEBI didn't give any observation on this. So time process is fast. If a company signs the mandate with the merchant banker, then within 3 to 4 months, the company gets listed onto the stock exchange. The process is one and the same. The valuation is being done by the merchant banker in consultation with the promoter of the company. Then the issue size is being decided. The merchant banker has got all the responsibility. They do road search. They bring the investors. Once these investors come, once the IPO gets fully subscribed, then on 6th day, the company gets listed and traded onto the SME platform. So total process, if you see from the signing of the mandate till listing, is 3 to 4 months process. In 4 months, all these companies get listed. Yes, as far as benefits are concerned of equity funding is the one benefit. Either the company can do offer for sale or they can raise funds for the company in IPO. And there are various other benefits for promoters. Of course, there are various benefits. They can reduce the debt by raising equity from the market. They can give the exit to the existing investors. The valuation recently on the SME platform, we have seen the valuation jumping very substantially for good companies. Investors are showing lots of benefits. The valuations on the first day itself seen a rise of 40 to 90%. So a lot of recent, because a lot of awareness has happened, very good companies have come. And we are seeing many new AIFs, alternative investment funds, have started coming, and they have started putting funds in these companies. So if we see in the year 2022, the SME platform has given a return of 70%, whereas if Sensex has given a return of 7% and Nifty has given somewhere 6%. And because of this, we are seeing a lot of interest coming onto the SME platform. Every month, we are seeing 7 to 8 SMEs, or even sometimes 15 SMEs getting listed on the SME platform. And there is a lot of vibrancy, there is a lot of demand for the SMEs. Of course, the valuation on the valuation front, we are seeing not that much of aggressive valuation being given to the SME companies. It ranges between 10 to 50. In some of the cases, if there is some uniqueness in the company, then the valuation goes to 20%, 20 P multiple. Otherwise, 90 to 95% of the company get funds in the range of 10 to 15 P multiple. So like that, this SME platform is working. Both the stock exchange together, we have almost 750 companies listed, almost around 11,000 crore rupees have been raised. And today the market capitalization is somewhere 1,20,000 crores. And these companies represents from get the representation from 22 to 23 states, which almost divided between 24 sectors. Of course, the representation from Western side is more, almost 60 to 70% of the companies are listed from the Western side of the country. The rest are distributed among other states because equity awareness is very less. I myself, in last 11 years, have met almost 38,000 to 40,000 promoters, talked on various forums, almost 2,000 various forums. I have talked about the listing and the benefit of SME listing. Tried to talk to the promoters, the chartered accountants, the company secretary, but they are very hard not to crack. They have got their own apprehensions. Sometimes apprehensions is related to compliances, sometimes apprehension is related to takeover, acquisition, or some or other things. These are the apprehensions among the promoters, and therefore there is a lot of reluctancy in this in the minds of the promoters, and that's why they avoid getting their company listed. Otherwise, more or less, we are seeing a lot of traction. Every alternate day, new issues are coming. They are getting filed onto the SME platform. Not only that, even we have started one startup platform for on BSC. And in this startup platform, we have observed that almost 9 startups have got listed. Not large startups, they are small startups. And out of these 9 or 12 startups, 9 are profit making. Sorry, 12 startups have got listed, and 9 are profit making. Total 900 crore is the valuation. And these startups, as of now, the eligibility criteria, what we have defined for this startup platform is that, they should be in existence for 2 years with positive net worth and 1 crore paid up capital, and this should be only in the tech space. We are not taking the startups from manufacturing space. So This startup platform also we are trying to attack. This is the new one. Only 2-3 years back we have launched. We have not seen much of the traction on the startup platform, but we are trying to reach to the startups and requesting them to get themselves listed on the startup platform. Another around 100 SMEs are in pipeline, and I'm quite sure that in another 1 year, we'll see 100 SMEs getting listed on the startup platform. In the startup space, we are not sure, but 5-6 startups we are expecting to get listed on the startup platform. So this is what guidelines and eligibility criteria and all those things are there. Besides that, I am not remembering anything to tell you guys. Only thing I can say that, you know, the SME platform, the SME platform of the BSc is doing very well. We are doing a lot of hand holdings for the promoters. Pre-IPO, even post-IPO also, after these companies get listed, even if there are any issues and problems, we are trying to get it resolved. Many of the companies which we got listed on the stock exchange have seen very good performance. We have got many companies which we got listed at 20 crore, 25 crore valuation are now trading at 400, 500 crore valuation. And this valuation is based on the profit. It's not just a bubble, but we have also seen the valuation going up substantially. I have got a company listed in 2014 with 10 crores turnover and around 1 crore profit. Last year, they have shown a turnover of 150 crores and profit of around 42 crores, PAT, profit after tax I'm talking about. One company I got listed with 100 crore turnover and 2.5 crores profit. This year, they have shown almost 800 crore turnover and 65 crore profit after tax. Some company has shown 100 crores, 200 crores of profit, and valuation also have grown like that. You know, 25, 50 crore, 500 crore valuation. One company has grown to 1600 crore valuation. Someone is 2000 crore valuation. So both turnover and profit has grown substantially, and also the valuation. And in the first round of funding, it was smaller in number, but second and third round of funding was very big. They have got big money for their companies, and they have started growing. Well, initially, in the case of SME platform, we are seeing conservative valuation. But as the time goes, after 2 years, 3 years, the valuation is multiplying like anything. I've seen the valuation multiplying 10 times, 20 times, 50 times also. So this way, this SME platform. Another one thing that I would like to tell you all that, you know, in 2012 December, we have launched SME IPO index with 100 as base. Today it's quoting somewhere around 2,500. So you can understand how much the valuation has grown on the SME platform. People are talking about this SME platform, and I'm quite sure that as more and more SMEs will keep on coming, you will see this platform becoming more and more vibrant. So this is what that I would like to tell you all. Any question? No, I would like to have more interactive session. These are the guidelines. These are the criteria. Whatever is happening onto the SME platform that I have already explained you. It has got a huge potential. It's just you know, just we have started. I think in last 2 years only we are seeing a lot of interest happening. Last 7-8 years, prior to that, we have done more of a donkey work. We keep on moving here and there, you know, trying to convince the promoter. In last 1.5 or 2 years, we are seeing a lot of traction. On the main board, we are not seeing. You know, in last 1 year on the main board, hardly 3 to 4 companies have come. But here, almost 120 companies we have seen last year in 22-23. This year, we are expecting much more. So thank you. Please, Smriti, you can open it for questions, sir.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Thakur, and that was very insightful. And I think all of us have a better understanding on the different eligibility criteria from SEBI and BSE on this now. We can take up some questions. I think we do have some questions in the question answer box. So let me take up the first one is from Mr. Praveen. He's asking you about most of the anchor investors for SME IPOs are mutual funds. So can HNIs or group of HNIs be anchor investors, and any regulatory hurdles for the same?
No, for anchor investor category, only QIBs are allowed. It's not HNI or group of HNI. So in the QIB section, only the AIFs are allowed. AIFs can be any one. It can be mutual fund. It can be a alternative investment fund. It can be FIIs. It can be a financial institution, anyone. But it can't be HNI or group of HNI.
Okay. And are there any regulatory hurdles for mutual funds as such?
No. QIB, see, mutual fund and all these things comes under category of QIB, or you can say financial institutions. So they can always be anchor investors.
Sure. So the next question is from Mr. Jaideep Mehta. He would like to know what is the typical fundraise size on the SME board?
Typical?
Fundraise size on the SME board.
There is no limitation on the fund issue size. It can be as low as 5 crore. It can be as high as 100 crore, 150 crore, 200 crores. The maximum issue size that what we have seen on the SME platform is 115 crores. Okay.
Right.
So initially, on an average, we were saying 8 crores of issue size. Now it is growing. Okay, now we are seeing 25 crore, 50 crore, 100 crore, 75 crore issues have started coming on the SME platform.
Okay, sure.
And mostly it's related to profit. Let me tell you, that's what I'm saying, valuation. On 1 crore profit, we can't think of someone giving 100 crore valuation to the company or 150 crores. So of course, if the profits are there, and accordingly, if the valuation of the company can be 400 crore, 500 crore, 1,000 crore, then accordingly fund can be raised. Only limitation is that the cost is to paid up capital should not cross 25 crores.
Sure. Thank you for that. Another question from Jaideep is also, can the IPO be a pure book running IPO where existing investors are divesting?
It's not called book running, it's called offer for sale. It can be 100% offer for sale. If the existing investors want to take an exit, they can come with the company can come out with offer for sale, through which the existing investor can take an exit. Now the issue can be both book build and fixed price issue. So in book build, in the case of book build, the bandwidth is given. In that price band, the investor have to subscribe. In the case of fixed price issue, the price is fixed, and in that price, the investors have to subscribe this.
Sure. So another question from Mr. Rajneesh Kapoor, is there a lock-in for investors to offload and exit?
No, there is no lock-in for the investors to enter. All the investors who are entering to the primary market in the companies, they can enter and exit at any point of time. However, the pre-IPO investors shares are locked in for 1 year. So if some pre-IPO investors are there, their shares will remain locked in for 1 year. But all those investors who are subscribing the issue in the IPO or follow-on public offer FPO, then those investors don't have any lock-in. They can buy, they can sell at any point of time.
Sure. Okay, so we'll take the next question. This is from Mr. Rao. This is around merchant bankers. So first question is, how many merchant bankers are present today in the platform, and whether it's a crowded market and scope for more? And a follow-up to that is, if there is a new merchant banker who's trying to enter the space, how would you suggest them to proceed? And what kind of investor they should target?
No, there are almost 30 merchant bankers who are working as of now on the SME platform. And there are many merchant bankers who have applied for the card. Because suddenly we are seeing a lot of interest coming onto the SME platform. And therefore, a lot of professionals are finding opportunity to enter into this space. That's the and as far as merchant banking license criteria is concerned, there are two criteria. Number one, that the net worth should be minimum 5 crores, and they should have two professionals in their company who should have minimum experience of 2 to 3 years. So like that is the merchant bankers eligibility criteria. So a lot of people or a lot of professionals are seeing a opportunity in the SME platform. They are applying.
So there's another question. The next one is from Mr. Prashant Jain. So how do you know if the company is suitable for SME IPOs or a main IPO? So what would be the difference in the criteria here?
No difference in the criteria. As I have said that any company having post-issue paid-up capital up to 10 crores can't go to the main board of the stocks. They have to compulsory come on the SME platform of the stocks if their post-issue face value capital is below 10 crores. Beyond 10 crores, they have always the option to go to the main board of the stock exchange. So that's one. Second, if you want to run your book like normal IPO or FPO, then another criteria for main board says that last 3 years, the total operating profit should be minimum 45 crores. So if you have got the operating profit of last 3 years together 45 crores, then you can go to the main board of the stock exchange. If it's below 45 crores, then also you can go to the main board of the stock exchange, but 75% of your IPO or FPO should be subscribed by the QIBs. This is the guideline on the main board of the stock exchange. Theoretically, below 10 crore paid up capital, you have only to come onto the SME platform of the stock exchange. You can't go to the main board. However, below 25 crore post-issue paid up capital also you can come to the SME board of the stock exchange if you don't meet the criteria of 45 crores of operating profit. Okay, so this is the case. Now, for all practical purpose and what we are seeing today, that even if you have got 45 crores of operating profit, you want to go to the main board, maybe the main board, the way the things are, that you may not be attracting lots of investors. Okay, so now if you want to go to the main board, what we are seeing, and practically I'm not talking about theoretically, unless until you have a profit of 40, 50, 60, 70 crores, investors are not very much interested in subscribing your issue onto the main board of the stocks. So therefore, practically, these are the practical aspects I'm saying. So if the profits and the paid up capital is below 25 crores, and you don't want to spend a lot of, because expenditure on the main board of the stock exchange or the cost of bringing the IPO is much more. A lot of exercises are involved. A lot of due diligence process are there. You have to take the approval of board the stock exchange. You have to take the approval of SEBI. So many things are there. If you feel that you are not so much eligible, or you don't have that much of bandwidth to go on to the main board, SME board is a place which is very cost-effective way of raising the funds and very time efficient. Okay, and therefore most of the SMEs are having the profit below 25 crore, 30 crores or 40 crores, they are opting for the BSE SME platform to raise funds and get themselves listed.
So I think that also partly answers the next question, which is from Mr. Shubham Patel. Now, he wanted to understand eligibility, apart from the legal perspective, what are the good business metrics? So I think you spoke about the profitability side of things, but apart from that, which would be, few of the good business metrics that you would look at, to determine whether a company is eligible or ready, I would say ready, not eligible for the IPO.
No, see, the company SME platform is open for everyone. Okay, we are seeing the company having profit of even 50 lakh coming to the SME platform. We are seeing company having a profit of 40 crore also coming to the SME platform of the stock exchange. So as far as eligibility criteria is concerned, it's quite open. It is giving the, it is paving the way for all sorts of SMEs companies to get themselves listed onto the SME platform, the stock exchange. Now, which are the companies? Of course, most of us know what are the sunrise sector. We also know what are those sectors where the investors will not show interest. For example, trading company, they don't get much of the P multiple. You would see metal companies, their P multiple are less. So like that, you need to see the sector, which are the sectors where the investors can show interest. And if the investors will show interest, those companies will get subscribed fast. You will see the valuations also are matured. Even higher P multiple investors are ready to fund them. But if the sector are not so attractive, then of course investors will always like to be conservative. They will like to fund the company at a lower valuation.
So next question again, something that's pertaining to typical cost. So you mentioned that it is cheaper for a company to list on an SME IPO, but what would be the typical cost that a company needs to bear for this kind of an IPO? For example, if they're looking to raise a 10 crore from the issue.
Not much of it, not much of it is there. And even let me tell you, the merchant banker, whatever the cost he tells you, out of that only, whatever the regulatory cost, I'm not talking about a fundraising cost, I'm talking about a regulatory cost. Even in the case of regulatory costs and the prospectus making cost, only 15 to 20% of that they charge before IPO. The rest of the fund they ask you or charge you only once the funds come into the company. Once the IPO got fully subscribed, once the funds have come into the company, and once it's fully subscribed and ready for trading, then only they will charge you. So out of the pocket expenses on the SME platform ranges between 15 to 20 lakhs rupees. The rest, whatever the cost is there, they charge you from the issue proceeds.
Right. So the next couple of questions are, I'm seeing around promoter dilution guidelines, and if there's a minimum shareholding that has to be given.
Minimum dilution here is 25%.
Right. Okay. So okay, promoters have to offload a minimum of 25% equity.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. And the minimum public shareholding on such IPOs would be?
Minimum?
Public shareholding?
Minimum 75%.
75, 25. Right.
Yeah. See, 25% minimum, they have to, just a minute. Sorry, what you are asking?
So yes, we spoke about the minimum, equity that the founders have to offer.
Here how it was that minimum 25% you have to offer to the public. As here there is a concept of market making. So minimum 1.25% you have to give to the market maker, because with those shares, they will do the market making. The rest, 74.75% shares remain in the hands of the promoters.
So again, I think another interesting question is by Mr. Prashant Jain. Again, now difference in expenses between SME IPOs and main board IPOs. So I think we briefly touched upon this, but if you'd like to add something on this one.
No, but I think, there is a big difference. Big difference is there. There is no comparison at all.
Sure. The next question is, does a company necessarily need to go to the main board after listing on SME IPO board?
No, it's optional in the hands of the promoters. If they want to migrate to if they want to graduate onto the main board of the stock exchange after 2 years, they can. If they don't want, they can remain onto the SME boards.
Sure. So we've spoken about the cost of getting listed. The next question is about, again, merchant bankers. So typical merchant banker fundraise fees for such listings? And is there a cap on it?
No, there is no cap on it. It's between the merchant
Okay.
banker and the promoters. They need to decide what they want to do.
Sure. So I think we have gone through typically all the questions. So another interesting one here is that how does the liquidity scenario look like in the SME listing space?
No, liquidity is there. We are seeing slowly liquidity happening onto the SME board. Market making concept is working very well. And as more and more investors have started participating onto the SME board, now we are seeing liquidity. Yeah, once upon a time, liquidity was a concern, but now liquidity is there. I'm not saying that the liquidity is as good as the main board of the stock exchange, but there are some liquidity here onto the SME platform. The reason being of lesser liquidity, once the concept of market making is there, the concept of lot size is there. And therefore retail, because the retail investors is not much here, therefore liquidity is not that much. Second, this is not a trading platform. We don't see traders and jobbers participating here. It's more of an investment platform. Okay, whereby the investors invest and they like to remain with the company for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or 1 year or 2 years. So like that, it works. And therefore, you will not see much of the liquidity happening onto the SME platform. But if somebody wants to enter and exit, then that option is there. So for that, they don't need to think about that. But yes, liquidity is there, and liquidity is growing now. Liquidity, we are seeing a lot of liquidity happening on the SME platform.
Sure. So a follow-up to that, I mean, what would be the average volume traded on this platform daily?
On the average, we are seeing 100 to 150 crores of turnover happening on daily basis.
Sure. So I think, Mr. Thakur, we've taken up all the questions. I'd request if the audience has any more questions, they can let us know at this point. Sure. So what we can do is that in case anybody from the audience does have any more questions, they can write to us and we can get back to them with the responses from Mr. Thakur.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you very, very much. Really appreciate your time. I think you got a lot of questions and I'm sure we'll have some follow-ups, but really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Mr. Thakur, for taking out the time today. And I'm sure the audience enjoyed listening about all the insights from you. And thanks, everybody, participants, for taking out time today for this session. And we do look forward to staying engaged and meeting in future sessions. So on that note, I think we'd like to wrap up the session and hope you all had a great time and hope you have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smriti.